The Maldives President Mohamed Muizzu's party, the People's National Congress, has won a landslide victory in the island nation's parliamentary elections, which is being described as a supermajority, one that would further cement his grip on power. The PNC, which contested 90 out of the 93 seats in the Maldivian parliament, known as Majlis, has won 66 out of the 86 seats for which results have been declared. This is more than a two-thirds majority in the House. This is not the result India was hoping for. Many believe this election outcome could further harden Muizzu's anti-India stance. Needless to say, it will also enable President Muizzu to push policies through the parliament. The seat tally is a cause for concern for New Delhi thanks to Mali's sharp tilt towards Beijing ever since President Muizzu was elected to the top office last year. The Majlis exercises supervisory powers over the Maldivian executive and can hold up presidential decisions. Before this election, the PNC was part of an alliance that was in a minority in the House. That meant even though Muizzu was president, he did not have the political muscle to push through policies. The Majlis was then dominated by the Maldivian Democratic Party led by Muizzu's pro-India predecessor Ibrahim Mohamed Soleh with 41 members. This time, the MDP has received a massive drubbing with wins in just about a dozen seats. Earlier, while the MDP-dominated House blocked many of Muizzu's plans, members of the opposition publicly flagged and criticized his anti-India position. A senior aide of Muizzu has been quoted as saying, "Muizzu came to power on a promise to send back Indian troops and he is working on it. The parliament has not been cooperating." This result changes all of that. The election was seen as a test for Muizzu's plans to boost economic cooperation with China. Since taking over, the president has awarded major infrastructure contracts to Chinese state-owned companies. His party's electoral victory is set to clear most obstacles for him. Ever since he was elected in the presidential election last year, Muizzu stepped up the island's outreach to Beijing, a development that New Delhi has watched with great concern. Soon after his election, Muizzu visited Beijing and met Chinese President Xi Jinping, making him the first Maldivian president to visit China before India following his election. On his return, he said, "We may be small, but this doesn't give them the license to bully us." While he did not name any country, the remark was seen as a swipe at India. President Muizzu also pushed for the exit of 80-odd Indian soldiers who were stationed on the island for humanitarian work. They also operated reconnaissance aircraft gifted by New Delhi to patrol the Maldives' vast maritime borders. 2 batches of the Indian military personnel have already left the Maldives and they have been replaced by India's civilian technical staff. The remaining troops are expected to leave the Maldives by the 10th of May. Muizzu's decision to send the Indian troops back has strained Mali's ties with New Delhi and Beijing has appeared keen to exploit it. When Muizzu went on a state visit to Beijing in January, the two sides signed several agreements for investments. He is yet to visit New Delhi. In March this year, Mali signed a military assistance agreement with China for non-lethal weapons for free as well as to train the Maldivian security forces. India and the United States had previously trained the Maldivian military. A few days ago, however, Muizzu appeared to extend an olive branch when he acknowledged India's financial support to Mali and said, "India will remain the Maldives' closest ally." As of the close of last year, the Maldives owes India around $400.9 million. India has so far adopted a restrained approach and downplayed the strained ties. Asked about New Delhi-Mali relations after Muizzu's election, External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar had said, "Neighbors need each other. History and geography are very powerful forces. There is no escape from it," he said. For China, expanding their role in the strategically located Maldives is critical to their Indian Ocean push at a time when the region has become one of immense geopolitical significance. The Maldives is known as a top luxury holiday destination thanks to its pristine white beaches and secluded resorts. But in recent years, it's become an important geopolitical hotspot in the Indian Ocean where global east-west shipping lanes pass the archipelago. Muizzu won last September's presidential polls as a proxy for pro-China former President Abdullah Yameen, who was freed last week after a court set aside his 11-year jail term for corruption. Muizzu has recently awarded high-profile infrastructure contracts to Chinese state-owned companies. Analysts view the victory as strong backing for Muizzu's policy to achieve closer ties with China. Muizzu has publicly stated that he wants to reduce India's long-standing influence in his country, despite India being a traditional benefactor for the Maldives. Also, this election was crucial for Muizzu as just a few days ahead of the polls, the opposition parties had demanded a probe and impeachment of the president following a leaked report of his alleged corruption from 2018, a charge dismissed by Muizzu. Observers say, from a political institutional viewpoint, Muizzu now effectively controls everything. He could theoretically control the judiciary as well, as he has enough numbers in parliament. The question we're asking on Global Lens tonight is this: what does this election result mean for India and for China's growing expansionism?